People like Joy Reid, people like Rachel Maddow, would forbid you right now from tuning in and watching this of your own volition, but they feel slighted when a giant network who has propped them up because they're a valuable propaganda tool to said network, they think that's a slight because they feel so entitled to be on broadcast television. You don't have the right to watch this. They have the right to that airtime. Some kids call this a deep dive. Let's unpack. We've always called these meat segments. All the references are publicly available. Because there's meat on the bones. We're going to use something current as a springboard, but again, I want to lay out the case that what you are dealing with right now is the left diametrically opposed to reality. I don't know where their own belief of their propaganda, because it's been so long, I don't know where that stops and the new propaganda begins, because people pushing the propaganda know that it's not true, and there's certainly quite a bit of that. But then when the new generation comes in, they sort of believe the propaganda because they didn't play a role in crafting it. So that's a question that I have for you. I don't know the answer. I just know that there is a lot of propaganda right now that people are, they're weaving and they know that it's false. Okay? So yesterday we did a time to close for Joy Reid. But she had one more rant in store for us.
I've been through every emotion from, anger, rage, disappointment, hurt, feeling that, guilt, that I let my team lose their jobs. But in the end, where I really land.
For reference, here's a video of her half-brother figuring out where to land. It's 2025 there too. Let's continue with Joy Reid.
I really land, and where I've landed on today is just gratitude.
Couldn't be
just pure gratitude. But also gratitude? That my show had value, and that
are those tears of gratitude?
That what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And I say this is kind of like me on TV, so I apologize. And then it mattered.
Okay, in case you guys have forgotten, this is the same person talking about it had value and can't believe that they're canceled from a show that was propped up. All right, it had no value. We'll get to the numbers. Just last month, Reid was laughing at conservatives for thinking they were censored. This is the same person.
Why would conservatives think fact-checking is biased against them? I mean, what are you sharing if you keep getting fact-checked for false information? Think about it. What were conservatives sharing on Meta that was getting flagged so much?
Hunter Biden laptop?
Pictures of you with full hair.
COVID.
False information. And why were they so eager? And why are Republicans in general so eager to end the idea of fact-checking? What are they trying to share? What is the motivation for not wanting it to be fact-checked? Just something to think about while you're noodling things.
Mm-hmm. What do they want to share? Well, we'll get to your ratings, and we'll share those.
No, that's her value.
Yeah, exactly.
She does have, you say zero value, but her show did have value.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was in the negative. So
yes, it was a negative.
Below zero.
Value. These people say freedom of speech does not mean freedom of reach, so they support the throttling, shadow banning, and removal of conservatives who have actually built something from the ground up. Think about it. People like Joy Reid, people like Rachel Maddow, would forbid you right now from tuning in and watching this of your own volition, but they feel slighted when a giant network who has propped them up because they're a valuable propaganda tool to said network, they think that's a slight because they feel so entitled to be on broadcast television. You don't have the right to watch this. They have the right to that airtime. Does that make sense? So let's draw these comparisons for you. Okay. The left, all right? Perfect. They will tell you, and then we'll go to reality. Joy Reid was fired because of racism.
Where Joy Reid's show, The Readout, ended tonight. And Joy is not taking a different job in the network. She is leaving the network altogether. I will tell you, it is also unnerving to see that on a network where we've got two non-white hosts in primetime.
Who cares?
Both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows, as is Katie Fang on the weekend. And that feels worse than bad.
Give up your spot.
No matter who replaces them. That feels indefensible.
Well, okay, it feels indefensible. Here's the reality. It's defensible because last week, Joy Behar averaged 59,000 viewers in the demo.
Holy cow. Whoa.
That's really bad.
It's down 70% from the 2024 highs. That means her highs in the demo sucked. Plus that up by 70%.
Dude, they'd be better off showing OxyClean commercials.
Yes, yes, they would.
Brain rot would perform better.
And that guy's dead.
Yeah, show the old ones. Who cares?
My other thing was Billy, I don't know.
Billy Mays.
Billy Mays, that's right.
Mays.
So it feels indefensible because they're women of color, non-white. Well, you're a lesbian. Do you count? Do you fill some kind of DEI spot?
She doesn't fill any holes.
No. She told on herself, no matter who they replace them with. Well, what if they replace them with a black balding woman who wears wigs all the time? And Fang, I'm assuming, is Asian on the weekend. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But with the last name of Fang, it kind of narrows it down. What if they replace it with another Asian person?
Yeah, a Wang.
It's Fang.
Yeah.
Replace Fang with a Wang.
What if they replace them?
I understand.
What if they replace them with another lesbian Burt Ward on HGH lookalike? Right?
And it's Joy
That'd be
Reid.
baby steps forward, wouldn't it? Burt Ward was Robin. I was saying that she.
Yeah, no.
If she's so upset about it, she should give up her time slot.
She should. She absolutely should.
If she wants to put herself out there and preach to the rest of us, maybe she should take a step down and be a real virtue signaling hero.
So their defense is it's worse than bad. It's indefensible. Because she's black, because she's Asian. I mean, I get that Eric Swalwell will probably try and bang her, but I don't understand how that makes her a good host. It's indefensible. It's defensible through the ratings. You, meaning the left, they want to make sure that people right now watching, listening, you can't do that because Reuters, AP, WAPO, PolitiFact say so. They're the fact checkers, by the way. Also, still no word on whether Ilhan Omar banged her brother. I'll tell you she did. But the fact checkers say, I don't know, it's still up in the air. They don't want you to be able to choose to tune in here. But it's indefensible to fire someone who has potentially the worst ratings ever in cable news history.
Potentially only because we don't have records going back far enough.
Yes.
By the way, you did say Joy Behar a minute ago instead of Joy Reid.
Admonish
so
me.
There needs to be an admonishment.
Admonish me.
Give it to him.
You're just manifesting.
Admonish. Here we go. I like it. I don't know that we got to find something else. You know, when you like your punishment, it makes it very ineffective.
Yeah, I do.
I spanked my son one time and he laughed.
Oops.
I was like, I can't spank my son anymore.
No, that's not good.
I'm like, oh,
There's a laundry list of reasons as to why that's unhealthy.
Yeah.
No.
I don't want to unpack it.
No. We don't need to.
Everything's fine.
We don't need to unpack it. Now, let's move on to the next one because this is just Joy Reid, okay? But it's just again, it's a symptom. The left versus reality. The left, using Rachel Maddow again, that Donald Trump, this is the statement they were making last week. Again, it's all about being a front runner, telling you, hey, you can't support this guy. Donald Trump, don't you know? Everyone else, the cool kids all hate him. He's now super unpopular.
He is unpopular. He is historically unpopular.
Wrong.
He is the least popular president in the history of modern polling at this point in his presidency.
Della Volpe at Harvard, who's very good. I used to think, once I saw a Harvard youth poll, I discounted it. I've come to say it's a pretty damn good poll. Pretty good guy.
Does he agree
He's
with
gone
it?
from 53 approval to under 30 to 39. That's a collapse.
This is
it possible
propaganda.
the honeymoon is ending?
Propaganda.
Because there's been 4 different polls that have come out recently that all show Trump, his approval rating dropping.
Either way, let's take a look at Trump's numbers right now. This is his net approval rating. These are polls, 4 of them released over the last week. And you might notice there's a lot of red on the screen and a lot of negatives.
I notice there's a big, giant, dishonest pussy on the screen.
That guy loves his screens.
Yeah, he does. Look, a screen and a screen and a screen. Yeah, I have one too on my iPad. There's nothing new about it.
If you notice, this red is red.
Yes, exactly. Well, Gerald can't because he's colorblind.
Oh, right.
Stop it.
So again, that's designed to defeat you morally. Here's the reality. President Trump has surprisingly impressive ratings. Not that it matters, not that it determines the success of a presidency, but even their argument is based on a lie. The most recent one, the Harvard-Harris poll, has his approval rating at 52%. Now, they cherry-pick polls. If you look at the spread, his approval rating is still pretty damn good. Better than in his first term from all metrics that we have available to us. But Harvard-Harris has actually conducted these polls for a while. So with polls, you have to pick one that actually has some kind of a track record where you can compare apples to apples. So this is significantly higher than it was in his first term. Let's look at another poll. Americans who believe that the country is moving in a positive direction. Right now it's 42%. That's a plus 14 increase from last month, meaning that is going up. Here's something else they don't tell you. President Trump, his cabinet picks, which are a reflection of his administration, obviously, also have favorable numbers in the polls. And some of them didn't beforehand. For example, Vance was underwater in the campaign at some points. He's at a +4. RFK is at a +9. Tulsi's at a +3. Bondi's at a +1. Propaganda. That's what you're dealing with. Joy Reid's show adds value. Propaganda. I'm saying lie. Jane Fonda. Oh, actually, it's the Americans who are liars and propaganda. Donald Trump is losing favorability. You're alone. You're isolated. Propaganda. Let's move on to the next one. The left. What they tell you is that, oh my God, can you believe this? Doge, Elon Musk, and this administration, everyone knows this, they are targeting valuable, hardworking public servants, and it's wrong.
What does the public stand to lose with these widespread layoffs? We are important and we do important work. We're impactful.
I picked diapers off the side of the road, toilet paper, beer bottles, cigarette butts,
eat it?
you name it so you didn't have to see it.
I served as the Chief of Safety and Emergency Management at the Philadelphia VA.
I used to be a NEPA coordinator for the Wrangell Ranger District of the USDA Forest Service.
As the only aquatic ecologist at the largest reservoir in the United States, my job was mostly to monitor for water quality for recreational uses.
He's a pool guy.
What do you put your dipstick in the reservoir once a week?
Yeah,
What?
I do this with my hot tub. Check the pH.
$170,000 a year.
Yeah.
Well, the reason that they're worried is because they know it's not a real job and they can't use that on their resume.
Yes.
Like there's not other place they can go and do that work.
So they want you to believe that everyone in the country, right? And again, this is all designed to isolate you. You're in the minority. People need to support their public servants. It's the most American thing you can do. The most American thing you can do is criticize them and not trust them, in my opinion. But here's the reality. You are not alone. The average American's distrust in federal institutions, the distrust is at all-time high. Their trust in institutions is at all-time low. It's 28%.
Oof. 28% trust?
Yeah, 28% trust in federal institutions. And by the way, it's terrible if you look at intelligence agencies. You can go, again, references available for every single show. I highly recommend that you peruse them so that you can admonish me. I'll give you my private cell. Trust in the mainstream media, legacy media, is also at an all-time low, 31%.
Wow.
And I should clarify, too, trust of our institutions is at near all-time low. Mainstream media is complete all-time low. But at this
they
point,
got the Trump bump a little bit. It's like, thank goodness Trump is coming back into office. So,
And the reason the left wants it is they want to preempt. They want to because they know that you are actually in the majority. And they want you to feel like you don't have a leg to stand on. And they want people like Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth to be vilified when they reflect what you, in poll after poll, the average American, know to be true, that you have no reason to trust legacy media. He handles it beautifully.
Why did you select an underqualified retired lieutenant general to be the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff?
I'm gonna choose to reject your unqualified question. Who's next?
I mean, I'm not gay, but if I was,
he's on the exemption list. We got a producer here with 6 Emmys who yearns for him. Yearning for him. There is a burning in her loins. It's okay. It's natural. Now, this is where we are. There's the left and there's reality. Do you guys understand that this is the sort of the dynamic that we have found ourselves in for a very, very long time? The only new variable is that now you're able to fact check it, which is why they want to place on a pedestal exclusive fact checkers who do their bidding. I don't know if you know this. You're the fact checker. It's you. They don't want that. Which brings us to the next point. The left versus reality. This one is self-explanatory, but it unfortunately still has to be said that trans athletes, men, in women's sports, it's the civil rights issue of our time, and everyone knows it.
Later this afternoon, President Trump will sign his latest executive order targeting transgender rights, this time banning trans athletes from competing in girls' and women's school sports.
MAGA, as I said, is explicitly a Nazi ideology, and they are coming after trans rights.
Trying to legislate away the trans community.
Those people deserve...
So that was a transgender cyclist and the creator of the douchey hipster starter kit.
I think that's Doc Holliday or Wyatt Earp, one of the two.
I'll be your gas berry. Now, handlebar mustache, and she made a point to put the bicycle, the fixie behind them. Like, just in case you didn't realize I was a total unlikable prick.
Yeah, I also hate you on the road. Get off my TV and get out of my lane. Quit wagging your butt at me, you weirdo. Why do you guys all meet up at Starbucks on Wednesday mornings? I hate it.
Yes. Well, I think they use third wave coffee roasters. They would turn up their mustachioed handlebar nose at Starbucks. Do you notice too with trans, and I know we have to continue with this montage because we're making the point, again, the point is that they're saying it's a trans issue of our time. But do you notice that when females become male, like they're transgenders, they never come out looking like Josh or Tim or Gerald. It's always some kind of a douchebag. It's always a hipster with handlebar mustaches. It's always Chaz Bono with a chin strap beard. It's always some negative stereotype of a guy who the rest of us wouldn't want in our locker room, not because they're trans, but because they're a self-important dick.
Wallet chains and Jordans.
Yeah, exactly. This is what guys do, right? We wax our mustaches and we ride fixie bicycles. The shitty ones.
Johnny Depp bracelets.
Yeah, exactly.
You chose a low-rent guy to be
obsessed with truth.
Yes.
I've always believed I was a man. Fine. So, let's continue with the montage. It's a right, whatever.
Those people deserve as much as the rest of us to be able to play sports.
This is part of a systematic attack by the Trump administration on transgender people, not just youth, but people of all ages.
Okay, trans DJ Khaled.
Yes. Basically, he worked on the HIV project as well. It's not a project. It's a pretty simple process.
Yeah.
Like stop screwing guys at truck stops. Problem solved.
Problem solved. Or 50-cent rubber. Or taxpayer subsidized PrEP pills, all that stuff, because, I mean, you can't be held accountable for your behavior. Here's the reality. Americans aren't buying it. They want to isolate you. They want you to feel like you're some kind of a fascist, like you're some kind of a Nazi, like you're anti-trans, that you have a phobia, which I guess you get over through touch therapy if you're Eddie Murphy on a corner in Los Angeles. Hey. Most recent New York Times poll on banning men in women's sports. New York Times poll, 79% support it. Including 67% of Democrats.
Wow.
The other 21% don't know how to play sports.
Yes, exactly. And by the way, that's an upward shift. Remember how people, again, the doomers out there, and I've seen a lot of them because I've been around since 2008. You can go check the blue bed sheet on YouTube saying things only get worse. We're at the worst point. No. Here's a swing. Anyone who tells you this last election was about the economy, they need a CAT scan. There's a reason that Donald Trump ran the Kamala is for they, them, Donald Trump is for us. Because, the culture issue was a bigger one. It was common sense. It was what everyone knows to be true versus propaganda. That's what this election was about. It's not hero worship for Donald Trump. They're basically avatars for the rest of us. Enough Americans, 79%, said, this is too far. This is too far. The left is still on the side of propaganda. It's a civil rights issue. We are not buying it. And I'm glad that you say that I seem like I don't have F's to give to this morning, and that's true. President Trump didn't. We ran this yesterday, but I always want to rerun it in dealing with Maine's governor who believes that her job primarily, or her primary role, is virtue signaling. Watch her do it.
The NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine?
Well, I'm here.
Are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding. See you in court. Every state. Good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
I also love how RFK is in that clip just trying to look comfortable. He's like,
I didn't see him.
He's just sitting there. He's like, oh my shit, roasted.
How do
red dye? Do you need some ice for that burn?
If anyone is watching from Maine, I want to know how you feel. If you're parents or if you're in or you just got out of school, I want to know how would you feel about that? Your governor saying she's okay with losing federal funding just so that a couple dudes can dominate the track or dominate a volleyball court. It's worth a couple kids.
Yeah.
Not being able to play. Well, by the way, they can still play sports.
Sure.
Yeah. They just can't beat up on chicks. You're willing to lose federal funding for that?
That's absolutely. And here's the thing: they go, it's only a handful. Yeah, but the displacement isn't only a handful. Second is different from first, and third is different from second, and fourth is different from third. And if you were going to be third and now you're sixth, guess what? That changes the course of your life. Oh, as the left calls it, empathy. Woke. Let's go to the final one that we are dealing with right now. And this kind of, it comes off of what we were dealing with yesterday. It's just so funny, Amy Klobuchar. The left, the propaganda is that, for crying out loud, this is abusive. It's toxic masculinity. It's patriarchy. It's fascism. It's insert whatever here. It's abusive to ask workers what kind of work they're doing.
Elon Musk ordered federal employees who have been working from home to report to the office this week.
Oh, my word!
Ordered them to explain why they should have a job next week.
By giving him examples of what they accomplished last week. He demanded 5 examples by midnight tonight.
The morale is, of course, abysmal right now. We are being told we're not worth the money that is spent on us. This is just another step in the demonization and harassment of employees who have only worked to serve the American people.
Chris Kirkpatrick's not aging well. Now,
I was going to say, that's the guy that women trans to.
Yes, exactly.
That's the dude.
Yeah. I went into the barbershop and I said, give me these Xerxes. Now, that's the propaganda. They want you to believe that you're in the minority if you think people should, be held accountable for their jobs. Here's the reality. All references available. And one of these references is quite a bit of fun. I highly recommend you check it out. The Reddit Fed News, the Reddit that existed, the message board. This is from 2 years ago, just so you know. The reality is that a lot of federal workers don't do anything. Why? Because they've said so. They've since gone in and deleted their posts. So this was a question on the Reddit, the feed there of Fed News. It said, how many hours do you spend a day or week working? Here are quite a few answers. Probably 20 to 25 a week, sometimes more, sometimes less. How could it be less? There's no reward for working hard and no punishment for being lazy. New rules. Here's another one. I rarely hit 40 hours a week of actual work. Most weeks it's 20 hours a week of real work. The other 20 are prep, reading, or thinking while staring at the screen. Other one. Honestly, I find it hard to not be bored. I can finish all my tasks before lunch and I'm really just sitting there waiting for someone that needs help. This was all over. This was a message board, effectively, a forum, a subreddit where people were talking about their experiences working for the federal government, and they've since been wiped because those same people now want to push the propaganda. I work hard. I work just as hard as anyone else, and I deserve this job. You don't deserve the job, and you don't work hard. I haven't seen a 40-hour work week since I was a teenager.
There's no way to cut, Stephen. How dare you? By the way, I want us to fact check this. I think not one agency uses over 50% of the space that they have, which means that we are paying for people that are not doing their job, and we're paying for space that they don't even use.
Yeah.
Insane.
How much work do you think those 78,000, whatever the number is, plus new IRS employees are doing?
Former IRS.
To be fair, I don't really want them to do a ton of work.
No.
I got some things I'm trying to hide.
Right. No, that's exactly right.
I wouldn't say that on air, Josh. We are live.
And I just don't want them to exist. And then we went through this yesterday where the left thinks this is a dunk. This shows you how out of touch they are. They're so separated from reality. They think that you, the average American worker working, not in the public sector, in the private sector, that you'll be impressed. You'll be impressed by their list of accomplishments. Amy Klobuchar over the last week. 5 things I did last week, Mr. Musk. 1, successfully asked you to rehire 300 nuclear and avian flu workers you accidentally fired. I'm sure he got right on that because of you. Number 2, pressed you to pay attention to rising household costs.
What?
Okay, number 3, stood up for vets. Well, sit back down, you fat bitch. Did you notice they were orbiting you? Number 4, fought against your tax cuts for the rich. All right. 5, stood with Ukraine instead of Russia. So hold on a second. Your accomplishments this last week are your opinions?
2 of them were just standing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a fat guy, but standing's not one of the hard things I do every day.
And they try to act like they're fighting for you.
Send a tweet.
Think about this. You have people who are maimed in battle who keep going, like, no, not until I'm dead. I'll fight with my last breath. Like, I could very easily be sitting, but I will not.
Some people
I'll stand. Sometimes I'll sit. I mean, I'm not a machine, but sometimes I won't sit. I'll stand. I'm willing to do that for you. Number 3, stood up for vets.
I didn't see Governor Abbott doing that.
And by the way, Eric Swalwell posted 1 through 5, fight fascism.
Did he really?
Well, I think he was saying find fascism. It's in a Chinese spy's vagina.
Me so sorry.
What a dumb tweet, dude.
And here's a video. I believe he actually had a video to accompany it.
Oh, good.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Fought fascism, fought fascism, fought fascism, fought fascism. Okay.
GFY.
So you did
Eric Swalwell, he adds a plug. By the way, I guess that's on his list. You had that video made.
No, he did one thing 5 times.
Yes, one thing 5 times.
By the way, they're talking about it right now on CNN.
Oh, watch. Look at this. They're talking about this right now. What have you done? Watch. I guarantee you I know what they'll say. They'll say, and then there were other heads of departments, for example, Kash Patel, saying, please, no more replies because they are so disorganized. No, what they're saying is we have enough right now. They needed to find out just how much waste there is. And at a certain point, when you have a bunch of people who are clearly making stuff up, you go, all right, I think we get the gist here. This is where we are, the left versus reality. Is there any more clear example? Anyone out there, a genuine question, anyone out there impressed with Amy Klobuchar's 5 accomplishments of the week? Genuine comment. Hey, if you're still watching this, I appreciate it because in today's day and age, people watch for 30 seconds. It's like a dancing nurse or a cat. So thank you. You can also tune in live weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. And now, this. If you click it, otherwise it's nothing. In a way, if you click it, you are the one who created that video because right now you exist on a timeline where it may not exist. But if you click it, you make it exist.